G'day viewers, well, my muffler finally arrived. Another boss, so I'm going to try and modify that as a spare for this one. A nice sort of genuine Briggs muffler. This is a Kohler muffler because of the actual proper Briggs muffler for this model engine is discontinued. I can't even find an aftermarket one that'll match it, so I went with a Kohler muffler. More than good enough. Made in the US according to the bag, but it's actually made in Taiwan. Still pretty good quality though. Taiwanese still makes some pretty good stuff by today's standards. I think that thread, that's going to fit. That's slightly smaller. I have to cut this down, get in the depth of the screw that into that, and tap the thread into it. I'll just use some brass fittings, I think. Then we'll go like there. Perfect muffler, or elbow it out to the back. Elbow it out to the back so it blows the smoke out this way, or the oyster is just going to fill up with the carbon monoxide. I might do that. Make up some fittings so adapt that size down to this here, and cut it off and just screw it against the block. I've got to get some exhaust stag, which is like a gasket, that's high temperature silicon sort of gasket. I don't want it to roll to that aluminium though. Once that rolls to the block, I'm never going to get it off again. Taiwanese quality is pretty damn good. It's on par with Japan now. It's a fairly decent muffler. Screw should just screw straight on. Pretty solid too. This should work quite well. Anyway, got my fan going. It's keeping the place nice and cool. This modified heater, well, used to be a heater, put a new better cord on it. That's been on all night since yesterday, midday, and that's keeping the inverter cool. It does help, just so it doesn't get too hot too soon. It only turns the fans on when it gets above 45 degrees Celsius and turns them off. So to make this inverter not get so hot in the future, just use this fan. The less heat stress you put on the components, the better. I'm pretty happy with that inverter so far. It's done quite well. Anyway, I've just ran this for a little bit yesterday. I think it's a little tiny bit slightly low on gas though, because I made a repair to the back of it to when I first got this thing, it had like a washer sitting on the back pipe. Had like when they fixed up and re-gassed it and replaced this filter dryer, it had like a metal washer sitting on the pipe there. Do you see where that white tape is? It had like a washer sitting on it and it vibrated almost all the way through to the copper pipe. And that was just sitting like that. And I ran it, oh yeah. But then I noticed I got a bit of oil patch, like, oh shit, I shut it off straight away. And I tried to braze it, but because it's had they've done a pretty oh, they're starting that up. Just done a messy job when they replaced that pipe there. They cut half of this out and made a big mess here, and the bleach, like that, was rubbed through almost sort of way through. It was right there. You know, this big solder blob was right there. I couldn't solder it. That the whole thing had to come out and had to replace the whole goddamn pipe. If I'm going to do that, I might as well just get it re-gassed. So what I've done, I've just JB welded it so it's solid, so that the vibration doesn't make it worse. And I just set that down a bit of rubber and held it down. Because whoever fixed it last and re-gassed it, they just left a loose bit of metal on the pipe and rattled it all the way through. Like, that's just stupid when I've done that. I can use R134A in this system, but I've got to drain the oil out of this compressor and change it to polyester oil. I'll try my local fridge repair, appliance repair shop. I think they might have a bit of R12 on them. That's not there. Well, that's alright. Thought that was broken, maybe it's not. I'll fix that though, so it doesn't snap off in the future. If they can do this for me, recharge this similar to my R12 if they've got any in stock and it's not too expensive, I'll just get them to fix that up, solder it properly, because whoever did this last before I got it did a pretty messy job there. That was all just not very professional, and they left a bit of metal there rattling, cutting the pipe. They're bloody idiots. It does still work, it doesn't leak now, because I stopped it. But it's just a tad low. The liquid gets to about here, and it boils off and it's gone. It doesn't get all this quite cold and doesn't make the thermostat work. It just says running for too long, so. I should have been more thorough when I ran this, when I got it, because that washer's there done that damage. So I just noticed, I noticed that too late. I should have, yeah, just so excited. I didn't notice that washer was on there when that damage was done till after it vibrated more and cracked the line slightly. I mean, a very, very slight crack. Bloody, yeah, it's a bit unfortunate, but as I said, it's not leaking now. I only leaked a tiny bit, and I fixed it pretty much as soon as I noticed that I fixed it. So there's a slow leak, but it looks like it's just enough to make it a bit low on refrigerant now. It's unfortunate. But I was going to say, I've got a can of R134A in the form of freezer spray. This stuff here is on R134A, but if I'm going to use this in there, I'm going to have to change the oil. I don't know when this thing was last regassed. Would have been in probably late 70s, early 80s when R12 was still widely available. Tetrafluoroethane R134A. Yeah, that will work in that system, but I've got to change the oil in that compressor. I'll see the local fridge appliance repairer. They do old fridges like this as well from time to time. See if they got any R12 on hand, and let's quickly fix up that pipe. It's a pretty dodgy repair though, to begin with anyway, when I got this. Anyway, not to worry, no big loss. I'm using this fridge anyway. This one's been pretty damn good. Working very well, this one. Now they're working really well. I've got some ice in there for drinks. Happy with this fridge. Good performer. Thanks for watching. Bit of viewers. I picked this up on the side of the road. They came with the switch as well, which I put away in here. They came with a fan control switch and everything. But it's kind of hard to turn. It's got noisy bearings, so I just freed it up. I couldn't barely turn it on my hand, I just freed it all up. It turns now. It's a HPM fan. I've got 3 speeds and an earth. Just got to wire it all up now so I can use it like this fan, put it up here. Have 2 fans off an inverter. I can run them all the time. But this other HPM fan I just picked up, it's going to need some grease or new bearings or something. It does turn though, it doesn't feel rough, so the bearings are still good. I can just put a bit of oil in them and they'll be fine. Re-grease those bearings. It's not worth spending $10 on it to put new bearings in it. It's a free fan anyway. Try and get this off. Because the controller has a fan capacitor on it. I don't know if this has a capacitor behind here or not. There is a capacitor in there, okay. So I can run this on its own without the fan controller. I could either run one active and neutral and leave the other speed. I think that's for the light. I don't know which one of these wires is for the light. There's an active and a neutral. And I don't know which cord goes to the light, because I don't need a light. I just want the fan, the motor. The light I don't really care about. I'll probably might rig it up to 12 volts, have one of those little 12 volt solar panel charge controllers, have a LED in there, and wire both those lights up so it'll turn on with a little charge controller. And a charge controller will just turn the light on overnight. That might be an idea, it's like for security reasons or something. Okay, well, which wire goes to that light? Some I went to switch. Oh, I've got a red wire. Okay, I'm going to take this light apart and find which wire is that, because I don't need that wire. So what I'm going to do is get to the bearings in this motor, because they are pretty stiff. Better than what they were though. I've just been turning up by hand, I've freed it up. As I said before, I'm a big fan of finding fans on the side of the road. You use them outdoors to keep cool. They burn out. Well, there's plenty more on the side of the road that come up from time to time. Okay, just did a quick continuity test. I confirm that red wire goes to the light. I give it a quick spin. I put the camera down here. You have a list of these bearings. They sound heaps good. Horrible bearings. But they're not locked up and they don't run too rough, so I'm going to put some oil on those bearings. Makes a mess, I don't care because it's only a shed fan. Oil those bearings up, it's going to be a good shed fan. Anyway, let's get this apart and get these bearings serviced. Just so for longevity, because I am going to leave this thing on 24/7 running off the grid. It does take the brunt out of the heat in this place, which is good. Yours, give it a quick test. Got some oil soaking in there. Just engine oil, that will do it. Bit of leftover synthetic engine oil. That'll make it work better. Oil wire going up, ready to go. Let's plug it in. Probably going to be a bit of a racket maker at first, but oh well. We'll definitely know that this fan's on. One hand, can I do it? Yes I can. More oil in there. Oh, that's a racket maker and a half. Getting these apart is not easy because they're very tight clamped together. Very tightly clamped together. I didn't want to bend it too far out of shape and to be out of balance, so to bugger it. Let some oil soak in there and run it for a little bit until it gets a bit warm. The best I can do. They don't pull that much power anyway. They won't pull much power when it burns out, so they'll just smoke and just pop, make a little pop and that's it. 65 watts this fan uses in the mains. This is a Bunnings fan from way back. They're about 20 years old, I reckon, this thing. These wires aren't connected, so they're not live. There's not much torque on it at all, is there? Yeah, as much oil as I can in there. The back bearing's not making any noise, it's just that front bearing, the bottom one when it's normally installed, I should say. Only your engine oil in there, so it should be right. Here's all there, so it's all safe to touch. It's not that far out of balance either, which is good. That's on high. Well, that's on the high speed. Oh well, noisy fan, what do you do? This fan is not a fan of being silent, that's all I can say. It's a fan of loud noises. That's not getting that warm. Oh, I'm going to let it run for 10 or so minutes. Get that oil right in there. Get that oil right in there and I'm going to install it. More in there. It goes inside the fan, I don't give a crap. Bit of engine oil won't hurt. This is high performance stuff too. So. Yeah, that ought to make things work a bit better. No way I can get grease in there, it's that hard to pull it apart. I put it heated up and inject it in there as a liquid. But yeah, it's just too hard to get this apart, I'm not really fussed. These things are pretty cheap anyway, but then again I did price one, just to out of my curiosity. The full kit with the fan itself was all about $300 bucks. So best to pick them up off the side of the road. I've still got the other ones here, as I said. I've got a big amount of storage and just use them in here. Using them as a turbine doesn't really generate much any usable energy anyway, so they don't generate much power if you modify with magnets. More oil. Slightly quiet. It's slightly quieted it down. Working at engine oil. Anyway, you get the picture. Oh yeah, ha ha, that's nice and fast. That's blowing a lot of air. That's better, but damn it's loud. There you go, little wooden blades. Not very fast. But there's steel blades, so I've got to get some more of their steel blade fans. That's fast. I'll have to put some more stuff on that cable there in case it drops and cuts its own cable in half. That's fast. That's plenty of air moving now, look at that. 1.8 amps, not pulling much. Not putting much power at all. The inverter will run it all the time. That's awesome. Oh, that's awesome. Man, it's loud, but it's awesome. Plenty of oil in those bearings. I mean, it was pretty locked up, but once I threaded up, it was spinning easier, so the engine oil was going to help it. Yes, I did make sure the blades are on tight. Oh, that's better. That's actually moving some air. I'll find another one of those fans to go here now, replace it with this one. This one's too slow. Get another one of those over here. Keep my eyes peeled on the sides of the road. That's awesome. I can see why they replaced it. In the real world, it's not worth replacing bearings in those fans anyway. Getting them apart's a nightmare. Hey, they'll be alright. They should quieten up a little bit. That's pretty good oil I put in those bearings, so I've got a lot in there. Maybe a lot of it go in there, so I'll keep an eye on it. Anyway, that'll be enough for now. Thanks for watching. Oh, it's cool on here already. It's awesome.